describing it to you. This world,
I did in the beginning.
this shit. This world desperately wants to be deeper than it is. It wants to be Game of Thrones. It wants to be Lord of the Rings. You can see that in this new Northern Coven that they introduced that you see in the trailers. You think this is going to be the cool thing of the film. You got these new white vampires who live in the north. They're like Viking, right? They brought Khaleesi. They tried to. Okay, Joe, but I thought they were actually going to wheel out like a million. I thought they were going to actually do Khaleesi, but they didn't. And the fight scenes are so pathetic. It's like you have these. They tried to do a medieval versus new technology, right, with guns versus shields, but it didn't work. I was like, choose one, you know. I liked Rise of the Lycans because it was like this medieval stuff. And you had swords and shit.
What are you laughing my ass off at the movie theater too? I was trying so hard not to laugh. They're like, oh no, the Lycans never come here. Lycans. I was like, oh my god.
That was right. I heard
2 seconds. Like 2 seconds later. Holy shit, Lycans!
And they all have coats on. Who knew that they would show up with
Holy
coats?
shit, they have coats. This is new technology.
They didn't bother to ask the other vampire covens what weapons are the Lycans using these days.
Because earlier in the movie they were talking about how advanced the Lycans are becoming with this new technology. They got coats. They're so advanced. Oh man.
It's even better than that. We have to get into spoiler territory here because I have to describe this one scene to you. Is that okay? So that's when they attack the Northern Coven, but when they attack the Eastern Coven, then it gets even funnier because the Lycans show up with this advanced technology, these guns whose sole purpose is to create holes.
Yeah. They brought guns to punch holes in the wall so the sunlight
Could destroy the vampires.
oh my god! We're all fighting with guns! We never thought they'd actually penetrate a stone wall or a wooden window. Holy fuck!
It ruins the underworld, even the underworld mythos that they set up. There are vampires here that die from like a very light neck break. But wait a minute, they're vampires. You need these special bullets, UV ray, just to kill them. And then that's ignored too because I swear to God, there's a scene just like is it Leslie Nielsen?
Yes.
What's his name? The parody films from Naked Gun,
Yes,
where they're there is a scene where they are literally 5 feet away from each other. You remember that from the parody thing? That's in this film. 100% played seriously. Only there's no cover. They are just standing there shooting at each other, screaming.
And then they stop and they got like both like
It sounds so funny. It sounds so entertaining, but I'm telling you, it's not. And that's why I don't recommend go out and see this like Mechanic Resurrection, because you can have fun with it with your friends. But here, to get to these moments is so much boring. There's so, like at the beginning of the film, the first hour, there's a serious lack of action. I'm like, oh yeah, Assassin's Creed has more action than this. But however, that does turn, and the final phase of the film is just nonstop action. But it's pathetic action.
Yeah, it's pretty bad action.
It is pathetic action that breaks the mythos of the underworld. You can tell they're just basically rushing to the next action scene. And then even half-assing that. The CGI falls apart on this.
It's pretty bad CGI in the werewolves.
The werewolves, and they want to make it such a spectacle where every time a werewolf transforms, it takes them 2 minutes.
it's so breathtaking though. Like the vampires are just watching
There's
that.
like,
So everybody gets lazy.
CGI bought.
We gotta wait for these Lycans to turn.
So they're just like,
Somebody fucking kill him.
almost not had this always pops wrong. So, I'm gonna kill you. It's like, shoot the fucking guy already. Shoot him. This one chick, and you see from the trailer, she can teleport. She's sitting there waiting for a guy. She can teleport across the castle in 2 seconds. But she sits there and waits for him to transform, and then fights him. And
What the fuck are you thinking?
it's terrible. It is awful. it makes no sense. And
Not at all.
the script is bad. Even
The
the
writing is
performances. I think it's done. It's done.
I hope so.
Underworld. It's done. It's time to close the door, lock it, and just throw away the key. They tried desperately to. Sure, bury it. No, keep it out in the sun so that all the vampires die.
No, they won't.
Oh,
Kate
well, a
Beckinsale,
few.
Mom, and that's okay. She can stay alive.
Keep Beckinsale and David's character. Now kill David and keep David. That's fine. But, you know, it's just, it's not a very good film. This January, this is where they put these types of films. I didn't expect it to be this bad. Let's do our final verdicts because this is bad. So, Joe, what would you give this film?
Well,
I'm excited.
like I said, I went in expecting nothing, and I got nothing in return.
So that should do good for the rating, right?
You would think. I'm gonna give this a motherfucking two.
Two out of 10.
2 out of 10.
You liked it even less than Assassin's
Yes,
Creed?
this plot was a fucking joke.
Yeah.
The plot was.
At least in Assassin's Creed, you knew what was happening, and,
Yeah.
and it was trying to play close to the video games. It
Yeah.
made sense. It just was executed poorly. Here, this made no sense. It was executed poorly. The effects weren't very good, and it felt rushed, and it was insulting to its own material, and they tried a sequel bait.
Yeah.
It's really bad. What would you give it out of 10?
Honestly, I would give it a 2 out of 10 as well. Because
Two out of 10.
I did like Assassin's Creed more, and I really didn't think I'd be saying that.
Yeah.
But honestly, Assassin's Creed, you could tell they actually kind of tried. Like the CGI was pretty good. The action choreography was a lot better than here.
If the fucking director would take fucking one camera angle instead of 15, that's what ruined Assassin's Creed, and it ruined this film too. This is not any better, because the camera's all over the place.
No, but at least there you could tell they actually like rehearsed the choreography before they actually did it. This is like, yeah, everybody just do your own thing. Just do it.
Awful. Two out of 10 from me as well. 2s across the board. Don't waste your money on Underworlds. Wait till it comes out on Netflix. This thing will be on Netflix in half a second. It'll be out on television, that ancient device, because it's awful. And I think this will probably bury this franchise for good. I don't think there will be another Underworld film.
I think there
That's how bad it was. You really... Hey guys, we just got back from Underworld Blood Wars, and what the fuck? How is this franchise still around? It has been 13 years. Can you believe that? I did not expect another film. I don't know. I know. Look, listen. I actually liked these films. I really like the Vampires first.
But you probably watched them on Netflix or something, right?
No, well, the first one was good, but I didn't know there were so many. And here we are, 2016, Blood Wars, which isn't really a war, you pointed out. And there's only, what?
There's only like 30 guys in the war.
There's only 30 dudes in the war, so it's not... Okay.
Turf war.
Okay, so the franchise is... What do you think of when you say the word Underworld franchise? Like, what comes to mind? What's the first thing?
Black leather.
Yes. Kate Beckinsale, super skin tight black leather. She's still looking out all these years later. It still looks like she did from the first films. Unfortunately, she can't carry this movie. In fact, she kind of disappears in the movie. She's not a strong enough lead in this to drive the movie forward. They try to do these side characters like David, who is this hybrid vampire, I guess, in the previous film, Awakenings, that nobody saw, because I didn't even know Awakenings, right? Where her daughter shows up, and it's a story about her daughter. And this film is a continuation of that. But, you know, when I think of the Underworld franchise, I think of blue hues. At one point, I was like, have all the previous films just been this washed out with blue? Because this one kind of was hurting my eyes at some point. It was so fucking blue. I think they got a little carried away with it. Joe, what do you think of when you think of Underworld? Shit.
Just fucking shit.
Did you not like the first one?
Oh, yeah, but like that was the longest ever.
Yeah,
All
it was
these-
2003.
It's going downhill, man.
It is run out of steam, guys. We'll tell you up front right here. In this review, it might get a little spoilery towards the end. We'll try to make a separate section for it. but it is shit. Don't go see this. It is the month of January where masterpieces like these are saved and released.
The first one's a strike. All right.
Yeah.
This one, the first
strike.
not a good way to start 2017. This film is exposition city, man. All the dialogue in it is pretty much explaining everything that happened, everything that will happen, and everything that's currently happening. It's pathetic.
Plus, there's so many just useless and awkwardly long scenes.
Yeah, there is really awkwardly long scenes, especially that one scene where this dominatrix type council lady,
Oh my
makes
God.
this dude go down on her, and she's just like showing her dominance, and all the girls in the theater were loving that.
Yeah.
They were freaking out. They were going
Yeah,
crazy.
like, okay, here's an example. Take that scene and go, all right, I'm gonna use it and do that. Scene done. We understand.
Yes.
It's about to happen.
Yeah, but then you hear.
go. Yeah.
Gotta show your own face.
Just keep going.
They were getting. That was the director getting back. I guess all the other movies where there's dick sucking and that those scenes go too long. So this one's got some pussy eating in Underworld, Blood Wars, which you did not expect. Anyways, it gives a whole new meaning to it. Well, okay, so
Hopefully not that time.
God damn it.
Although
So
vampires might like that.
the plot to this film is nonsensical. It's all over the place. It's basically a continuation of the previous Awakenings, where both sides want the daughter.
Awakening. What is it?
Rise of the Lycans was before that.
It was
Evolution. And then the
Mine was
first
all flashbacks. It was like probably
Yeah, it
30 minutes of the story. Like, how do we fill this? Let's do flashbacks.
Let's do
Don't
flashbacks.
stop. Oh my God, are you serious?
So they grab in all the and here's the problem. If you're just coming into this now, you have no idea what the hell's happening. You don't know who David is, who's this prominent the co-star to Kate Beckinsale's character, the death dealer. We don't really know who he is unless you previously saw Awakenings, and they don't really explain it well enough. And they throw everything at you through these flashbacks, which sometimes, at pivotal moments in the story, characters have these realizations. Oh, everybody's chewing on everybody. Like, that's how they remember. It's like, here's your mother's blood, and here, it has those nutrients. Everybody's sucking everybody.
What I did last Tuesday.
Oh, I remember that one I said. So, but the problem is where, and through other movies, they'll show revelations. Like you're in the middle of the fire, she's sucking her own blood, and it's like, okay, show that you found this weapon a long time ago, and you knew it hurt this other thing, so it might hurt this guy. There's nothing like that. It's just nonsensical, random scenes from the previous film, and then the cutscene, and then the flashback ends, and she does something miraculous, and you're like, but what? That did nothing to help you. No spoil.
I'm gonna try not to. Like, she's trying to get her memory back, so she's just there, like, feeding on herself, getting her ass handed to her. Stop it. I'm trying to remember. I don't remember anything that helps her. You gonna do something?
Good God. The movie is a mess. That's why we're having a hard time, describing it to you. This world,
I did in the beginning.
this shit. This world desperately wants to be deeper than it is. It wants to be Game of Thrones. It wants to be Lord of the Rings. You can see that in this new Northern Coven that they introduced that you see in the trailers. So you think this is going to be the cool thing of the film. You got these new white vampires who live in the north. They're like Viking, right? They brought Khaleesi. They tried to.
She was hot.
Okay, Joe, but I thought they were actually gonna wheel out like a million. I thought they were gonna actually do Khaleesi, but they didn't. And the fight scenes are so pathetic. It's like you have these. They tried to do a medieval versus new technology, right, with guns versus shields. But it didn't work. I was like, choose one, I liked Rise of the Lycans because it was like this medieval stuff, and you had swords and shit. And what are you laughing at?
Laughing my ass off at the movie theater too. I was trying so not to laugh. They're like, oh no, the Lycans never come here. It's too cold.